Alright, I'm going to talk a little bit here for people. This is a programming video about jQuery. I'm just going to show some people how jQuery works. I was talking to some people in Stickum on Saturday night who shall not be named, and more than one of them was talking about jQuery, and I was advocating it and how it would really help your JavaScript programming. It's really like an extension to the language once you start using it. Now, I don't know about things like moo tools and stuff. There might be alternates, but jQuery is definitely pretty cool. So what we have here is a little, I don't know what you call it, a little workbench, right? The HTML is going to come out over in this area, the rendered HTML, right? The raw HTML is up here. I happen to have a little CSS. And this is where you can write some JavaScript down here. Okay, so here's the document. I have this top div and a bottom div. The bottom div has an ID of pure output, so I'm going to use JavaScript to modify that. The top div is just a couple, it's just an unordered list of 4 elements and some text with a couple spans. And one span has an ID, and the other span just has a class and a special attribute that I have created myself. Right? Okay. Now, the neat thing about jQuery is how you can get at the tags in the document. So the way jQuery works is it presents itself as a function with the name $, right? And you put a selector string in as the function argument. So let's say I want to get all the line items. I can just type the name of the tag in there. And this phrase here will return a list of these 4 items. So it's going to be an array. So let's just, this would be the length. So let's just display the length real quick. Okay, so I put it in the alert function, and I'll run it. And sure enough, it says there's 4, but I don't really want to do an alert. So I want to put it in the output. How would I put it in the output? Well, okay, let's put it in a variable first of all. Take this alert away. Okay, so this is li, num li equals that. So if I want to put that in there with jQuery, I can identify the element. Okay, so the hash symbol is the CSS, standard CSS symbol for ID. So this ID is pure output, right? So that identifies that element, and then I can just say HTML, and this is a JavaScript member function. That function returns something that has a function called HTML, which will return the HTML or set the HTML. So we're going to set it to numli equals plus numli. I hope this all works. Okay. And you can see down here that it has written that in there. Right? Awesome. But it doesn't stand out much. So let's change the, let's say I want to change the, I want to put a border around it as well, and I want to use JavaScript to do it. Then I would use a member function called CSS, and I give a dictionary. I'll show you what this means in a second, but and I say the border, and I set it equal to solid black 1 pixel. And that's the end of a dictionary. Again, I'll show you in a second what I mean by that if you don't know about dictionaries. And it's got a border. Okay, now as I said, this is a dictionary, so this is one argument as far as that function is concerned. So we can add a second element in the dictionary of the padding. Say we make that 5 pixels. Okay, now I'll run that. should have some padding over there. Okay, great, it's got padding. Okay, so this is a different way to write the dictionary. Let's say we wanted the dictionary to be like this. Alright, now one thing you notice is, see how I don't have quotes around padding? I didn't need quotes around border either. Right, but let's say I had font size. That has a dash in it, so it can't be a JavaScript variable, so you have to put quotes around it. Font size, I don't know, 150%. So I just put quotes all the time, right? This will also work. Okay. Now, one of the neater things about jQuery and why I started using it is because you can do some animation and whatnot. So let's say we want to animate this up to 400% in the font size. So in the animate, it's like the CS function. You give it a dictionary, font size. Oops, gotta do it that way. 400%. Okay, and then run it. It's going to set that stuff and then zoom it up. Okay, you get the idea, right? So, let's say we also did something cool here with the opacity. And we go down to 0.5, which will make it look gray, right? Because this is going to make the thing transparent. See how it's a little bit gray? If I do the opacity 0.1, you'll notice. Okay, so the most important thing about jQuery is actually this query language where I can put things in like, you know, li. I can also get everything of a certain class. Now the only class I've used up here is the class grabMe for this span. So let's say I get it. Use a period is the CSS language for a class. Some other words, it says. So let's make those italic. So it's going to be CSS, and then that's the font style, and then we'll make it italic. Oops, in the dictionary. See, these are now italic because I said get the class grabMe, and there's only one. I could get more than one if there was more than one. And then when I go .css, it gets that first element and it does what I told it. This special attribute is interesting in that, you know, there's a command for that as well. So let's say that thing is in the grabMe class. So let's say attribute equals of special attribute. Set it to happiness. Good. Look, I write things backwards. Look, I end the quote before I start it. Weird. Okay. Now, we can't see it, but that is happiness in there. If I could, I have a tool that'll show it. But so this tag here that says something in the source HTML is now happiness. So I've stored that in there. So I can get that attribute by, let's do an alert of the Oops, I did it wrong. There we go. So it's happiness. Alright, so we'll use a little animation to finish this off. You can use variables. This is how I usually would do it, right? So you have that phrase and you could set that equal to a variable. Then I can go PO instead of type all that out. And let's fade out. And you get to type in the amount of the animation. Let's make this animation take 3002. It's in milliseconds, so that's 3 seconds. Okay, let's try fade out then. Like that, alert. Oh, fade out needs a longer period of time. 3 seconds. Okay, now it faded out, and it did them both at the same time. It zoomed up and faded out. So it's actually this query language that's so useful for all the ordinary JavaScript things, and this anime just happens to be something that you can do really easily as a result. Alright, cheers.